We have talked about soda bans for a long time on the program. New York City is one of the bigger places, most notable places where Michael Bloomberg pushed for these bans on really big sodas being sold at convenience stores. Chicago, a couple of months ago, also passed a soda ban. They're already repealing it. It's been 2 months and Chicago is going to be repealing their soda ban. The Cook County, Chicago is in Cook County. The Board of Commissioners in Cook County voted 15-1 to roll back the soda tax, not a ban. And they're going to make it effective as soon as December 1. Big Soda has spent a ton of money trying to make this happen. Ad buys, lobbyists, political contributions. And there's two very interesting sides to the soda ban thing. One side is, hey, listen, you tax soda or you ban huge sodas. It helps to fight obesity. It raises revenue for local jurisdictions through those taxes. And by charging more and limiting soda sizes, you make it just more difficult and more expensive for people to have as much soda. So you're going to reduce calorie consumption from soda. It'll be good for health overall. Okay, that's the idea from the advocates of the soda taxes or soda bans. Now, the counterpoint, and these are talking points that are very well liked by the soda industry. The counterpoint is no, you put a tax on these sodas, you hurt poorer people by making them have to pay more for soda. Rich people are not going to be affected by paying a little bit more for soda. And also richer people drink a lot less soda than poorer people. So you're going to disproportionately hurt poorer people with these soda taxes. It hurts the owners of small businesses like the corner stores that make some significant share of their money from soda sales. And distributors are just going to pass on the costs to consumers. So you're really only going to impact the consumers. Now, I don't drink soda. I haven't had any soda with the exception of a rare Coke when I travel and I can get overseas the Coke with sugar rather than the corn syrup Coke. I've probably had, I don't know, 5 sodas in the last 10 years. I think it is almost poison and terrible for your health, and I don't advise the drinking of any soda. But that is separate from the economic question of whether sin taxes, vice taxes, as they're sometimes called, work, the idea of taxing cigarettes or soda. So what's the truth about that? What appears to be the case is that these types of taxes do dissuade consumption if they are high enough, like really high. But the problem that you start to see when you have really high sin taxes, that it can incentivize the creation of a black market. Now, with cigarettes, we know that exists, right? Untaxed cigarettes that are brought from low cigarette tax states to high cigarette tax states. So from certain states in the South up to New York City creates a black market for these types of products. It's more difficult to imagine a serious soda black market. But another issue is that these types of taxes can make government dependent on the behavior. Because think about it this way. If you're a government and you start taxing a particular sin, like cigarettes or soda, for example, the government comes to expect that tax revenue and probably become reliant on that tax revenue. So then you have a situation where supposedly the reason for the sin tax is to dissuade usage or consumption of a certain sin or vice. But you actually, as a government, are now dependent on the money, and it creates contradictory incentives. The tax is supposedly to dissuade consumption, but you earn more revenue the more consumption there is. So what's an alternative? One possibility that I read about, and this is really interesting, article in the Washington Post last year about it, tax sugar instead of soda. What am I talking about? Well, instead of focusing on the volume of a soda, is it a 64-ounce soda or a 32 or 16-ounce soda, and taxing that, look at the sugar content. Look at a tax on high sugar drinks. You can institute a tax based on sugar per liquid volume, okay? And from the Washington Post article, when normalized by the amount of taxes paid, a one-tier tax, which taxes only beverages that cross a certain sugar threshold, that reduces sugar consumption by 25%. A straight volume tax based on the size of the soda or the drink reduces sugar intake by only 22%. Now, It's not a drastic difference, 25% reduction versus 22% reduction, but at scale, that could actually be a pretty significant difference. Now, you can already probably predict one of the problems with taxing grams of sugar. You can keep the grams of sugar down by using artificial sweeteners. I'm not particularly thrilled with encouraging the use of artificial sweeteners en masse because a large number of those have their own share of health concerns. So some people will hear the story. They'll say, David, you're digging into the weeds. The government just has no business, period, getting involved in something like this. It is just nanny state stuff. I disagree. Obesity is such a major public health issue that we all pay for it. You, me, and the government through Medicare and Medicaid. So I think that it is perfectly reasonable for state and local governments and federal government to have some kind of say. To say ignore it completely is completely crazy. But send me your thoughts. What ideas do you have for dealing with this in a way that might not have the problems of the sugar taxes, of the soda taxes and bans that we've seen? Send me your thoughts.